Do I have to wake up? Do I have to wake up? Oh. Oh.
Well, it's great to have you here for Wake Up. It is not a Victory Monday. It is not a Victory Sunday. It's a what the hell was that kind of Sunday. It's a sobering Sunday. It's a where you're going to fall in the wild card Sunday. We got games to pay attention to, and the path will be laid out a little later on this afternoon. We'll understand what it looks like. But welcome to Wake Up. Damon Bruce, Larry Krueger. That was not a very good game last night. We want to thank everyone for being here. I want to start on a little bit of a positive note. Thanks to every single person who helped me get over 50,000 subs last night. That is one thing that went well. Not too many other things went well. Eat at Ike's. Get a couple of beers at the Dubliner. You sure as hell could use them. That was tough, Larry. That was sobering. That was a game that sort of robs the enthusiasm that these last few weeks had really been building. Ouch.
Yeah. It was bad. It was bad. In one of my favorite songs, R.L. Burnside, "It's Bad, Don't You Know?" It's bad, you know? And it was bad, you know? It was bad. It was really bad. The 49ers got thoroughly outclassed by a better team. I said it in the pregame. I said the Seattle Seahawks are a better team. They were number 2 in points scored on offense. They were number 2 in points allowed on defense. That puts them, in a better statistical profile than the 49ers. And the statistical profiles mean a lot at the end of the year because you've played all the games. And something that's real, not, week 1 stats, week 2 stats, month 1 stats. But you know what? By the time you get to the end of the year, the stats mean an awful lot, and they really tell a story. And the story that it tells is that Seattle's a really, really good offense and a really, really good defense. Both teams had won over 6 in a row coming into the game. And the 49ers were going to, need to be probably +1 or +2 to have a chance to win. And instead they were -1. I didn't expect it to be this kind of a game. I thought the 49ers would wind up scoring, more like 21 points, and that Seattle would probably get in that 20 range as well, and that it would be a real close game, and it would come down to a Darnold mistake. And sure enough, the Niners got that Darnold mistake. He fumbled. He stumbled over his offensive line. He fumbled in an inopportune moment, and it went right to a 49er defensive player who then dropped it and went back to Seattle. I'm not saying that would have changed the game because this was a thorough ass beating, but you know what? That was the Niners' opportunity to, seize the moment, and they couldn't do it. They never really could stand up in this game. It wasn't like JSN lit them ablaze.
No,
he didn't, and it wasn't like they just absolutely, it wasn't like they were stumbling all over themselves, making mistakes. It's just they never stopped Kenneth Walker. He averaged 6.1 a carry. They never stopped Charbonnet, and they couldn't run it themselves. CMC, 2.9 a carry.
One of the worst running nights I can remember. That's the least amount of points Kyle Shanahan has scored as a head coach. And look, there's plenty to pick apart, and we'll get to all of it here today. But what I think separates, the job that we do from the job that I think other people do as content creators is we're aware that there's another team out there. And that Seattle defense, you're better than advertised. You really were. Now, I have not seen any all 22 tape here. But this is the third time in the last 6 weeks that Seattle has held an opponent to single digits or less. They shut out Minnesota. And I'm guessing when I do see that all 22, I better see guys just sticking to wide receivers like gum. Brock had nowhere to go with the ball, and he didn't force jack nothing last night. Seattle shut down every single play right at the point of contact. They didn't miss a tackle all night. Kittle, 5 catches, only 29 yards. Seattle didn't let a single thing get loose. Only 1 rushing first down. The 49ers You can say it was a lack of rhythm, whatever you want. They abandoned their running game, but hardly leaned into their passing game all at the same time.
Their offensive line got whipped.
Yes,
whipped
they did.
By four guys.
And
Not by blitzing, by four guys. Seattle brought four and got pressure.
You know, we say a lot of complimentary things about Brock and Kyle, and when we do, we mean them, and I think they've earned them. I think the criticism that they're going to hear today has been earned as well. I thought that was a scared money game plan, and scared money don't make none. Brock took 0 shots and just seemed less aggressive than a 45-year-old Phillip Rivers coming off a 5-year layoff playing in Seattle. It was bad. Kyle,
who should he have taken the shots to? 4-7 Bourne, 4-7-7 Jennings.
I hear you, man.
4-7-7 Juszczyk, 4-6-0 DeMarcus. They have no speed. Ricky Pearsall sat this one out. As far as I'm concerned, Ricky Pearsall can go take off and go somewhere else. I don't think Ricky Pearsall should be a Niner anymore. He's not up for it. He's not. He can play a game, then he's hurt. They had no speed. Now, I don't put this at all on Shanahan or Purdy. I put this on the general manager.
I didn't
their offensive line got whipped. Their defense. They used to have the deepest linebacking core in football. They used to have Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, and Azeez Al-Shaair. At the end of this game, they had Garrett Wallow and Eric Kendricks. What? Eric Wallow was a Denver practice squad guy that was cut a month ago. Kendricks hasn't been able to play for a year. His coverage grades last year were the worst in the league last year, and he's a year older this year. So this is what you got. You got nothing. You have absolutely nothing. Did they make an effort to go sign a practice squad linebacker because they needed a linebacker? No, they did not. They made Curtis Robinson inactive yesterday. I thought that was a stupid decision. When you're so banged up at linebacker, you need all hands on deck. This team was going to run the ball at you, and they did. But I hate to say it, I like John Lynch. He's a nice guy, but you know what? I blame Lynch. You cannot. Their D-line got it done with 4. Your D-line absolutely stinks. Well, your D-line can't get it done. You had 2 sacks and 3 hits on the quarterback all day. They had 8 hits on the quarterback.
And it was one of the better defensive line games we've seen in the last couple of weeks. I mean, look, I think that in the immortal words of Ralph Barbieri, 2 things can be equally true. And look, you just went all over the place right there. I want to go back to Pearsall.
I'm just saying. I'm pushing back. I'm pushing back on the idea that it's Shanahan and Purdy. Purdy played well. He didn't. That turnover was not on.
No,
Brock
it wasn't
Purdy.
on him. That was on.
It was absolutely on CMC, and CMC owned it. And Shanahan. I mean, I blame Shanahan for not getting Jordan Watkins going. Blame Shanahan for not getting Cowing going. I blame Shanahan for having no speed at all throughout the year, and seemingly, it's like they could have. You're telling me you couldn't find some 4-3 guy around the league that you could put on the field to give yourself space, and they don't have that. So guess what? A team like Seattle that has way better athletes on defense just snuffed them out like a candle.
Hey,
rushed 4 up front, got pressure, and then dominated on the back end. And then the second level linebackers for Seattle. I mean, that they've traded out the monster guys for guys who can run. Drake Thomas is fast. Ernest Jones is fast. Nicky Manwari is fast. These guys are fast. They made a ton of tackles. Those 3 guys alone made 17 tackles, 8 of them solo.
It's a testament to good drafting. I saw a list last night of first, second, third, and fourth round draft picks all out on that field last night. And it was basically the entire Seattle team. I mean, they are nailing their draft picks. And the 49ers, they make draft picks and they redshirt guys. And that can't happen. That means you're drafting the wrong guy if you cannot dress a healthy rookie by week 15, for goodness sakes. So John Lynch absolutely has some serious soul searching to do. I would like to see the great decision power of GM that falls on him, but it's really all Kyle anyways. Kind of taken out of his hands. I agree with you on that. But when Shanahan said, had the 49ers played today, it might have been different for Pearsall and Trent Williams. Look, Trent is going to the Hall of Fame. He's got a lot of house money with him. Big man, hamstring. I get it. Ricky Pearsall, though, that is straight. So there isn't. If he could have played today, that means there was no risk of anything structural. This was just about pain management or discomfort. And for this guy to not be able to even give it a go, I don't want to sound like I got a high tolerance for Ricky Pearsall's pain, but that was seriously disappointing. Seriously disappointing that he couldn't go. And I don't know if he would have made a difference because he's all right. He doesn't got a lot of house credit with me in terms of he will be the difference in tonight's game. And look, Seattle's very good. Seattle is very good. But I did think that Kyle Shanahan's game plan lacked. You know what you don't do? You don't run a fucking tight end screen to Austin Pleasant's side where he misses the kick out block that would have sprung it or been the reason Kittle got buried for a 7-yard loss. I have seen Kyle Shanahan run Christian McCaffrey into the back of his own offensive line with nothing there over and over. It took 2 runs for me to think nothing in the middle tonight. But anytime they gave the ball to McCaffrey, it was straight up the middle and nothing happened. Brian Robinson Jr., why trade for a guy you're not going to use? And it gets even more curious that when you do use him, there is a obvious degree of success he's having. And he was an afterthought. He's been an afterthought since the minute they traded for him. I thought he's a player that could help. You know, Isaac Guerrero, if anything, he's fast. Put him in the slot. Tell him to run to the fucking end zone as fast as he can. Just pull somebody off. And if they fail to cover you at all because they think it's all fugazi, throw him the ball and see if he catches it. I thought it was a scared money game plan. I really did. And you got to take shots. You got to force it a little.
Once again, take shots to who? Once again, the Niners did in this game what the Niners have done all year. Those are the same kinds of plays that they ran all year. And they just didn't work in this game because offensive football is about creating space. Their offensive line couldn't create space. They don't have speed. So they don't create space there. So they don't do a great job. The Niners don't do a great job of creating space. And then Seattle does the best job of closing that space down. They really do. They do the best job right now because they get it done with their front 4. So they always have 7 guys in coverage. They don't have 5. They don't have 6. They have 7 guys in coverage. And then you have Ernest Jones, who's been really good, Eman Wari, who runs in the 4-3s. And then they invented this kid, Drake Thomas, who got the key interception. And that was really it. The kid's 5'11". He's 215 pounds. He's 220 pounds. He's a modern-day linebacker. He's nothing except he's fast. He's really fast. And so they're out there in the flats, and they're out there. And you're right. I mean, some of those plays were snuffed out. I mean, literally, the 49ers had a hard enough time getting the ball from Brock Purdy's hands to the hands of their receivers before the defenders were already tackling them. I mean, these guys were getting tackled as they were catching the ball all night long. So I don't put that on Shanahan. I don't put that on Purdy. I just put that on the fact that they have better athletes than you have. And it was really obvious. And when you have better athletes, you can close down all that space really quickly and really easily. And they did. And Seattle's they made the Niners look really, really pedestrian.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. The bigger problem, I don't think, was the offense because I know they scored 3, but we saw what happened. There were turnovers and that kind of thing. They went for it on 4th down. They didn't get it. But the bigger issue was we know they're depleted on defense, and yet they had no speed on offense. The one speed guy that they had sat it out with a boo-boo. And then on defense, you have nothing left. You don't have any rush up front. You don't have speed at linebacker. And you got a lot of young DBs that are getting better, but they're losing confidence because they're getting torched. And, it wasn't like Seattle, it wasn't like Darnold lit him ablaze. I mean, he didn't throw for even 200 yards. But you know what? That when you have nothing defensively in your arsenal, especially,
But
Come on,
here's the
man.
deal, Larry. If I'd walked up to you in the parking lot before the game and I said, I can promise you that Seattle's only scoring 13 points tonight, you're going to put your mortgage on the 49ers winning or losing? You would say, oh, they're going to win.
Well, that's what I said last night. You're quoting me exactly on my own postgame show. That's exactly what I said last night to the guys. I'm like, hey, if I told you guys that you're going to give up 13 at home to Seattle, and that JSN was not going to score a touchdown, that JSN was not going to have 100 yards, that no Seattle back was going to go for 100 yards, and that Darnold was going to have some costly, fumble deep in his own territory. You know what? You would have said, "Oh yeah, I'll take that. This is going to be a game," but instead, it wasn't, because that's how thoroughly, faster Seattle's defense is than the Niners' offense. I mean,
Robert Saleh's unit last night spent the entire night either getting completely gashed or bowing up at the right moment to make a play in the right moment. That's one of the weirdest nights of football on that side of the ball you will ever see. The Seahawks should have put up 28 points last night, more than that even. At one point, the single best defensive play the 49ers made was Jackson Smith and Jigba's ankle clipping the sideline. I thought he was gone. I mean, it's lucky that he touched that sideline right there and went out of bounds. It was.
Don't even mention the fact that they missed 2 kicks. I mean, this is a team that went for it on 4th down. Seattle didn't get it and missed 2 field goals and had that almost, inbounds, out of bounds. They could have blown the doors off the Niners. The fact that the Niners were 13-3 at the end. I mean, that 13-3 might as well have been 33-3, because there was no way they were getting to 10, let alone 13.
They pretty much should have been shut out. They did. They took a field goal. Just like Alabama did, because they were afraid to run a play when it mattered. Look, there are also 3 moments that I believe just killed hope before hope even got a chance to live. The CMC interception. I mean, because I'm going to call it's his interception. That's a ball that he's caught a million times. That's the biggest in-game mistake he's made since fumbling on the opening drive of the Super Bowl. That would have been a chance to get Levi Stadium back in the game. On the scoreboard, it was a devastating moment.
I mean, that was the death blow. That was the end of the game. When that happened, it was game over.
Brian Robinson Jr. bobbling the second half kickoff and just putting them in Dutch before they even tried to get going with whatever Shanahan drew up in that locker room. Instead of starting, somewhere around the 30, you're on your own 12-yard line or wherever they were after he, bobble, pick it up, run, dive forward. That was the special teams that had been playing really well, letting them down in a moment where they couldn't let them down. They had to pick them up. And look, was it Yatir Gross-Matos who had the ball bounce right out of his hands? I thought that was him. I couldn't tell.
I thought it was Cleve Farrell, but maybe
get those fucking uniforms onto a bonfire. Okay, I never want to see them again. They kind of looked cool, I'll give you that, but I can't read the number. I can't read the saloon font. I couldn't tell who anyone was all freaking night long, and I'm watching the game on television in 4K with close-ups. I can only imagine what it looked like from the press box, Larry. You probably didn't even know if it was the 49ers on the field.
Once again, if you saw the parking lot scene before the game, you know why they did this, because people who are the fans of the team bought this ugly jersey in mass, and they, and there was all kinds of people like, how long I've been waiting for a black jersey to wear. Whatever, bro.
To me, black is the Raiders' color. Stay away from it. Okay.
I know, it's like, oh, you're tough. You're wearing black. I hope the next year they have a pink jersey, so you guys are all forced to wear fucking pink jerseys.
All right.
As far as that jersey went, it was brutally ugly, but it was, and the black helmets with the gold helmets. I mean, the gold face mask looks cheesy as well. And they're never going to wear them again because they're synonymous with that loss. Seattle's uniforms, by comparison, looked awesome. I mean, I've seen
the 49ers put on black jerseys really twice, and they've looked terrible in both of those games. Whether it was Yatir Gross-Matos who bumbled that or not, let me just say about Yatir Gross-Matos, goodbye.
I don't even think it was him. It was probably Cleve Farrell.
Whoever it was, but that guy does nothing. Like, there is a player that this team has rostered for no reason at all since the day they signed him. Has there ever been anyone who's done less in a Niner uniform than Yatir Gross-Matos?
He had great numbers earlier this year rushing as an interior player.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, okay, but
yeah. Well, let's not look away from the facts. Don't let the facts ruin a good story. Go ahead. You say whatever you want.
Well, I will say
Yatir Gross-Matos had really good pass rushing numbers when they had Mikael Williams, and the two of them were rushing inside earlier this year. He's had injury problems going back to Penn State, and he had more injury problems. To center on him, I mean, I don't know. It seems very random. There's nobody else that's doing anything either. It's not like anybody else on this team. Cleve Farrell had 0 sacks. Alfred Collins had 0 sacks. C.J. West had 0 sacks.
Bryce Huff
had 0 sacks. White had 0 sacks. I mean, they all had 0 sacks for the most part. So, I mean, they're just not good enough. And what's more embarrassing is not the guys that they signed off the street. It's the guys that they've drafted at this position that they claimed when they took over the team. This was going to be the backbone of the team. This was going to be we are going to build around a dominant defensive line. Well, what happened to that? You started drafting all these donkeys that could not play a lick. And then all of a sudden you're signing Javon Hargrave. And then when he's not great, then you're just basically signing nobody. And now you have nobody. And now you're acting surprised that you have no D-line when you didn't draft anybody. You haven't drafted. Who was the last really, really good defensive lineman the Niners drafted? Nick Bosa? That was years ago. He's closer to the end of his career.
It might be Mikael Williams, but unfortunately, like everyone who wears a 49er uniform, he got hurt. So, yeah, it's been, Alfred Collins. The quarterback. I think Alfred Collins is pretty good. I think he played pretty well last night in moments. But all right,
playing hard is nice, but I'm just saying they're not getting home on the quarterback. So they're not. So the quarterback's got a lot of time. But the big issue is they used to be studly on the second level with the best linebacking core. The Niners used to have the best second level defenders in football. The best. I mean, Greenlaw and Warner, both in their prime, with Azeez Al-Shaair just sitting over there going, hey, when you guys get hurt, I'll go in. That's what they had. And now they have Garrett Wallow, Eric Kendricks, and a hurt Tatum Bethune. I mean, their linebacking core and front seven compared to where they were in that first Super Bowl against Kansas City when they had Bosa and D Ford and Armstead and Buckner, and then that was their front four, and then they still had those linebackers I discussed, and they still had good DB. Where's that defense? What has happened
years ago,
drafting?
Man. That's a million years ago, and they didn't draft well. They didn't replace well. They didn't retain the guys they should have.
There you go.
The DeForest Buckner trade. That didn't work. That didn't work.
Well, the Javon Kinlaw, Drake Jackson, Kalia Davis draft picks didn't work a whole lot better. And then they just stopped. If you look at them recently, they just stopped drafting defensive linemen. Well, that's not going to work.
Well,
and then they didn't go sign anybody that's any good.
They're not drafting offensive linemen either. And here they are in another year where they're going to need a wide receiver. They need to draft every position that we said they needed to draft 2 years ago, and nothing has changed. And the fact that, and here's the thing, welcome everybody. It's good to have you here on Wake Up. Nobody's in a good mood. We get it. They're 12-5. They're going to the playoffs. As bad as last night was, as everyone wants to just tear Shanahan down today, Shanahan had an awful punctuation to a year we all agreed should have been a coach of the year conversation before they kicked off against Seattle. It's so weird. What a weird football season this has been. What a weird season. It's pretty incredible that they're 12-5 with all of that missed time.
I don't know if it's incredible because they had the easiest schedule in the NFL in the last 15 years. That's the facts.
Well,
I thought they were going to go 11-6. They went 12-5, largely because of Mac Jones and his ability to save the season in those games. But the play last night, that absolutely is the play that just you sit there and you go, oh my God. 3rd and 17.
Oh,
The Niners basically at that point, you're expecting to get the ball back on the next play. The Seahawks are expecting to give it back to you. They're like, you know what? It's 3rd and 17. We're not going to give this 49er team a running shot at Sam Darnold and cause a big turnover. Nope. We're just going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball and punt. And then they ran it, and the guy ran through the Niner defense for 19 yards or whatever, or 17 yards on 3rd and 15.
Was it Walker or Charbonnet? Like, you couldn't even tell the difference. Both of them looked like they were 7 yards a carry last night. I mean,
John Lynch up in the booth was losing it because he's sitting there watching that going, that is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. You cannot have a guy with your season on the line at home run for 15 or 19 yards on 3rd and 17. I mean, that the game, you might as well have just taken off your shitty uniforms right there and just laid them down, because that was the announcement that we are fucking worked tonight and we have nothing. We got absolutely fucking nothing.
And there were still an awful lot of moments where they might have, could have, should have kind of gotten back into a low-scoring game, and they just took advantage of none of them. None of them.
They needed this year. I mean, we saw the way they were going about this year. We're going to get rid of the veterans. We're going to go super young. Okay. That works if you have an epic draft. But they didn't. They had a volume draft, but it wasn't an epic draft. They hit on a couple guys. They missed on a couple guys. They have some guys that they think they like that are going to maybe come to fruition in a year, maybe 2 years. But they didn't have that epic, 5 starters, 2 impact guys. You know who had that draft? Seattle. Seattle had that draft. Did you see who was dominating yesterday? Nick Emanwari.
Mm-hmm.
And then guess what the Niners also needed if they were gonna be a viable contender? They were going to need John Lynch to make a good deal to add a significant weapon at the trade deadline. Who added the significant weapon? Rashid Shaheed, John Schneider, the better GM. So the better GM is Schneider, and he drafted better than Lynch, and he signed better than Lynch. And when their two teams got together at the end of the year, those guys played better than Lynch's guys. And that's really it. We can point at Purdy and Shanahan, but it's really the backslide of this 49er personnel.
Well, can we talk about real quick, Larry, the 2024 NFL? Let's play yes or no. I don't analyze anything. Just give me a yes or no. Signing a second contract, the 2024 draft class. Here we go. Ricky Pearsall, you signing him to a second contract? Yes or no?
I'm trading him in the offseason. No.
Renardo Green, yes or no?
Yes.
Dominic Pooney, yes or no?
Yes.
Malik Mustafa, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, and then we're going to get no's on Isaac Orendo, Jacob Cowing, Jarrett Kingston.
Isaac Orendo has a no place on the team at all. Tatum Bethune is a great story, 7th round pick who's a self-made player. He's a great story. I mean, he's obviously a keeper. They hit on him. He's a good player. He's just not your starting best inside linebacker. He's a 7th round pick. He's meant there to be like support, and to be kind of an extra fill-in guy, not necessarily your leading guy.
Right.
Who are the other guys? I like Jordan Watkins a lot, but I mean, Watkins hasn't gotten out there.
That's a different draft class. I'm going back to 2024.
Okay.
Guys who are really, anyone who was drafted last year is under contract next year. You don't have to worry about their second contract yet. But Pearsall, I agree. Like, what do you say it is you do here? Renardo Green is a guy that
he's hurt.
I don't dislike him, but I don't love him, and you can get better than him for sure.
It's fine. I don't have a problem with him. He's fine. You can win with him.
Dominic
He's not the problem. All these young DBs will look way, way better as soon as you have a better front seven.
Any kind of pass rush. You're right. Pooney, again, tough sophomore season, but I do like him, and young linemen take time. And I'm not giving up on Pooney at all. Malik Mustafa, no doubt he's staying. But Gorendo, Cowing, Jarrett Kingston,
Kingston's gone.
Tatum Bethune. Again, one of those guys is already gone. So, it's It's John Lynch holding this team. I mean, it's never one thing, right? It's a football team. It's a lot of things happening all at once. But John Lynch and the decisions made, and I think John Lynch is a little bit of a bulletproof vest here for Kyle Shanahan, because Shanahan makes these decisions. Shanahan signs off on all of these. There's not
I don't know who's making them. I think it's they're I think they truly, when they look you in the face and say, hey, these are organizational decisions, I think they are organizational decisions. But guess what, dude? If I'm making decisions or you're making decisions, who's got to be really on their game? You or me? But if you include your wife and I include my wife, now there's four of us that have to be really on the same page. Now, if you include our friends, my best friend wants to have a say. Your best friend wants to have a say. Now we have six people that need to be on the same page. And that's the Niners right now. It's like you got a GM, you got scouts, you got analytics people, you got coaches, you got Kyle, you got too many cooks in the kitchen. And so what happens is, when everybody agrees that you should draft player X, it tends to work out. But that's those no-brainer picks are very few and far between. Most of them you have to have a real instinct for. And if you're using a process that sometimes leans on the coaches, sometimes leans on the analytics, sometimes leans on Kyle's intuition, sometimes leans on John's connections around the league, then guess what you're going to have? Exactly what they fucking have, which is a track record of hits and misses. Big hits, big misses. And that's where they're at. And that kind of consistency, you can't get to the finish line with that kind of consistency. You have to have you have to hit in succession. You can't hit this year and then next year and then 2 years from now and then 3 picks in a row and then miss 7 in a row. Their track record in the third round alone is horrible. They've missed 10 picks in the third round just since this regime has been running things. 10 picks in the third round,
including a kicker.
Yeah, I mean, you deluded yourself into we don't have any needs, which is just asinine. I mean, just absolutely asinine. You're in a sport where you need to be building constantly because guys are constantly getting hurt. You at any point you think, you know what, we've really arrived. All we need is a scat back. You're wrong. Well, we've really arrived. All we really need is a punter. You're wrong. We've really arrived. All we really need is a kicker. You're wrong. All right. And the Niners have invested on all of those. They invested a 4th-round pick in Wisnowski. Where's he? They invested a 2nd-round pick was it a 3rd-round pick in Moody? Where's he? So come on, man.
Hey, where's
enough of this bullshit drafting? Come on. You have to be better. It's as simple as that. The Ricky Pearsall pick. I mean, shame on Ricky for not getting out there. Come on. This guy missed 6 or 7 weeks with this PCL injury that looked like a bone bruise. And there was no surgery. It was just about pain tolerance. 6 weeks in the middle of the year. Comes back, he gets banged down one time, and suddenly he's, and then it's like he's got these injuries that he played the rest of the game, but then at the end of the game, he's injured. Well, which is it?
Where's Jake Longus last night?
And look at the abuse that Juwan Jennings endures, and he's always out there. And look at the abuse that you absorb next to him, which is a fraction, and you're never out there. I mean, if I was Ricky Pearsall, I would put on dark shades and a hat when I walked into the wide receiver room because I don't want to look Juwan Jennings in the eye. That guy's out there playing for blood. And whenever you don't feel good, you're sitting it out. You're sitting out one of the biggest games of the year. Come on, man. Sorry. I know there's all these people. I know he was shot. I know it was a terrible thing. I know he's a great guy. All that. He is not available.
Yeah. Best ability is availability, and he is nowhere to be found when the chips are down. And again, for Shanahan,
there's a great host who's going to do this show. Oh, but he's not available. Well, guess what? He's not going to be. We're not going to feel the impact of that awesome host on this show because he's not available.
Well, whoever that guy was, thank God we're here, Larry. Thank you to everyone who's watching. Hit like and subscribe if you would, please. That like button just makes YouTube push this bad boy out into the algorithm a little bit more. Thank you for being here. And again, I'm not trying to blow sunshine up anybody's ass. Nobody wants that done today. It's a 12-5 football team. 12-5 because of cosmetic surgery against a weak opponent schedule. Fine. I don't care. They're a 12-5 football team. Really bad teams, teams that suck, teams that are trash, teams that are garbage can emojis. Those are the teams not in the playoffs. The Niners are playing football next weekend where everyone will be 0-0. They're either going to Philadelphia or they're going to Tampa Bay. It's going to take a miracle to get them to Tampa Bay. Every single 49er fan, if you got a Cardinals jersey, wear it today. I don't even care if it's a St. Louis Cardinal jersey. If it is a Stanford Cardinal jersey, that's close enough. Put it on today, because if the Cardinals beat the Rams, the 49ers are going to Tampa Bay. If
they're 14.5-point favorites to beat the Cardinals.
It's not going to happen, but maybe the football gods got little goofy sprinkle dust to put on this whole thing, okay? So you're probably going to Philadelphia.
Right.
And if you're playing the team in Philadelphia that we saw in the middle of this season, maybe the Niners get a puncher's chance there. If you're playing the team that brought that defense to Buffalo just a week ago, it's not going to be a long playoff run for the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, let's talk about the Eagles for a second, because they are an interesting team, right? They're the Super Bowl champions. They started off 4-0. Then they lost a game to the Broncos, but they ain't no shame in that because Broncos are really, really good, right? But then they lost to the New York Giants 34-17. And I think that was the game that made people go, what? But then they rebounded, right? They won 4 in a row. They beat the Vikings in Minnesota. They beat the Giants on the rematch. They beat the Packers 10-7 in a defensive slugfest. That was a great defensive game, national TV night game. And then they beat the Lions 16-9 in another grimy, hard-fought, super physical game. So you're thinking, you know what? This Eagle team is really, really good. Then they lose to Dallas, lose to Chicago, and lose to the Chargers. 3 losses in a row. Then they got thrown the ultimate, get right game by the Raiders, and they shut them out 31-0. But then they beat the Commanders 29-18, and then they barely beat Buffalo 13-12 in a game that, obviously they didn't get their offense going. Philly has struggled a lot this year to run the ball. Just taking that Buffalo game, Saquon Barkley ran 19 times for 68 yards, 3.6 a carry. They ran for 3.2 yards a carry. So I don't know. Hurts does not take a lot of shots down the field. He doesn't take shots in the middle of the field. They got A.J. Brown going late in the year. So A.J. Brown is starting to cook.
What's really weird is I saw a stat today that, and I don't know if it was 200 or 300, but basically, the more yards Jalen Hurts throws for, the better chance the Eagles have of losing that game. They're over this season when Jalen Hurts is over, I think, 200 yards passing, which is so weird.
They're they don't like to play those games. They don't like to play those shootout games. They are a bully team that if you can get a 10-point lead on them, and they have to, kind of take away their passing, their run game, and they kind of have to be unbalanced. I think, you can definitely beat Philadelphia, but it's like a trip. You have to have the right trip. You're not going to beat them. Like if the Niners fall into a 10-0 hole, they're not going to come back and beat this Philadelphia team. They're not. Their offensive line's not going to be able to stand up to Philly's defensive line, and it's just going to be, it's going to be ugly. But if the Niners can go to Philly and get a 10-point lead, now they're viable. I mean, I think I'm not saying the season's over, but the Niners are so flawed that I don't feel really good about them going forward, just because they're so flawed. They're Trent's banged up, Ricky's banged up, Kittle's banged up. The defense is literally, you're leaning on guys that aren't anywhere close to good. as major players. I mean, Garrett Wallow never played for Denver. He's playing major second half snaps last night at inside linebacker for the Niners. He never played at all.
When you're on your inside linebacker number 5 on the depth chart, you're not going to be bringing that player is never going to be good. Okay, like that's the 5th guy that was on another team's practice squad who is only out here because everybody who can play is hurt. That guy's never going to be good.
I know, but I mean, there's 2 kinds of guys you can grab off practice squads. You can grab guys who are first, second year guys who you love their potential and want to coach them up. And then there's the guys who are special teamer on the edge, on the periphery of the NFL. And that's what they went for. They went for Garrett Wallow, a guy who had a little bit of special teams experience. And why are they thinking that? Because they're looking for a special teams linebacker. But guess what happens when you sign special teams linebackers and your starting linebackers can't play? Now your special teams linebackers have to start. So you might want to go get a linebacker that has the potential to not just contribute on special teams, but maybe have the upside to start.
Well,
and those guys were out there, and they just didn't go for them.
Too many players on this roster meet this qualification. They're caught in between not good enough to really matter anymore in this league, or they're not really good enough to matter in the first place. And that's like half the roster. Kendrick Bourne, fun story, one good game. Didn't do much out of one really good game. Yeah, he was Jerry Rice against the Rams. Hard to find rest of the season. He's
a 4'6" guy who's 30 years old. That's not, once again, we're prioritizing. Oh, we know Kendrick and he knows us and he'll fit in the room. Nobody asked the question, can he play?
Do you even trust him to draft a wide receiver this year? I don't. Like, go out and sign somebody because I don't trust you to draft a wide receiver. The wide receiver they take in the 3rd round won't even see the field until week 11, and probably not even then. They're all Jacob Cowings, all of them. And by the way,
really, it's a tough position. It's a tough position to evaluate because you have to find,
for them,
really, really tough guys, and they have to be able to run. And yeah, I mean, you asked the question, would I trust them to draft? I mean, I don't know that I trust them to do anything as far as the draft is concerned, because today they're going to listen to Lynch. Tomorrow they're going to listen to Shanahan. The next day they're going to listen to some dweeb in their analytics department who's got some stat of stats. In the 5th round, they're going to listen to their regional scout. In the 7th round, they're going to listen to Lynch again. I mean, they don't have a consistent process. They don't have a proven architect, and they don't have a consistent process. So no, I don't believe in them.
Look, the better team won last night. I don't think there's any doubt in that. I wouldn't be surprised to see Seattle have the narrowest Super Bowl odds of any team. Like Seattle looks like a Super Bowl champion after last night's performance. And if defense matters in the postseason, which, historically and cliche wise, it always has mattered, they're going to be an awfully tough out. And this brings us again to Philadelphia, where the Niners are likely to be headed. That's going to be a really tough game for them. A game that looked a lot different a few weeks ago when you thought about what it might be. The air was let out of the balloon last night for the 49ers and an offense that was absolutely firing on all cylinders. Well, they're firing on all cylinders against a bad team. Well, Chicago Bears are the 2 seed. How bad are they? They're the 2 seed.
But they're a bad defense.
Yeah. Well, and
this was a great defense. I mean, look how bad. I mean, think about it this way, Damon. The Niners played 2 awesome defenses this year. The one last night and the one in Houston. And they got absolutely dominated in both of those games.
Yep.
So they can't beat Seattle's defense and they can't beat Houston's defense. And if they have to face them again, they'll lose to them again. And the only way the 49ers were going to win that game is if the Niners got the breaks. And the Niners didn't get the breaks. The ball's a funny ball, and it bounces in a weird direction, and it bounced to Drake Thomas. last night, and it bounced away from the Niners D-line on that one turnover. If the Niners get those 2 bounces, let's just say that the Drake Thomas thing, he's never there. McCaffrey catches it, goes in, and let's just say they get that turnover. They probably win a very hard-fought, close, nip and tuck, ugly football game against this great defensive team. So against this kind of team, you were going to need a couple lucky bounces, and the lucky bounces went in the other direction. And so it was a low-scoring, grimy, hard-fought game between 2 division rivals. If the Niners had gotten those 2 breaks, I bet you they win this game by the slimmest of margins, 17-13, 16-13, whatever. They would have won if they'd gotten those 2 breaks. Instead, Seattle got those 2 breaks, and so a really close 13-10 battle wound up 13-3, and it really wasn't that close. But I think that's really what it was. And I don't think we need to get overly over the top on it, but
let me just
it's frustrating as hell to me that Seattle hires this guy McDonald, and they trade for Ernest Jones, and he picks up Drake Thomas, and they draft Nick Emanwari, and they draft Byron Murphy, and all of a sudden you look up and they're really, really good on all 3 levels of their defense, and the Niners are still not very good.
Are the Niners one and done?
Most likely.
Feels like that. It feels like that. It feels like a lot of the air has gone out of the balloon. And again, all the momentum that you thought was building beneath, this offense is playing so well right now that it will be able to carry a bad defense maybe a little further than I don't know anymore, man. I don't know. This
was a great defense. I mean, I haven't looked at Philly's numbers. Where is Philly ranked defensively?
Better than the Niners.
Well, I know. No, I know that. Right. But like the Bear, like the Niners just got snuffed out by an all-time, a really, really good defense. I mean, one of the best defenses in the league for sure. And Houston's right there. I kind of wonder if you put Purdy and Shanahan in this Niners offense against Philly, what will they be able to do? Probably, I'll say they'll be able to do more than what they did last night. My biggest complaint of last night is where the fuck is Jake Tonjes? I mean, you have a hot receiving tight end. You're going up against a Seattle team that really didn't, if they had a flaw, it was their numbers defending the tight end.
How about some 12 personnel?
Tonjes gets no run. Was he even active? Did
I don't
he play
know.
At all?
Didn't see him.
Mean, come on, man.
Where's Luke Farrell?
Luke Farrell played, but I mean, Luke Farrell's not a receiver. But I'm just saying, you have no Ricky Pearsall. Jennings is slow. Demarcus Robinson is slow. Bourne is slow. You have nothing but slow receivers that can't get away from these corners. And yet you have a tight end in Tonjes who really moves well. And you've got 2 really good tight ends. Did they use Tonjes and Kittle together? No. Did they throw Tonjes a pass? No. Not one.
No.
The whole night.
Vamp for me, Larry. I got to go help my mom with something real quick. I'll be right back, okay?
Yeah. I mean, 4 targets for Demarcus Robinson, none for Tonjes. So, I mean, the Niners, it was a rough night, and they just got snuffed out like a candle. And you could tell early on. I mean, I at no point in that game did I feel like, oh yeah, the Niners got this. At no point. So we'll see. Do they have a shot in Philly? Yeah, they have a shot. It's a puncher's shot because I don't think much of Philly. But do the Niners have a real shot of getting out of the NFC? And no, because they're eventually going to have to meet up with the Rams or the Seahawks, and those teams are better, just better. And as much as I would, I understand why the Niners didn't do anything at the trade deadline, but it still looks really bad. It looks really bad. You were battling for the 1 seed last night. And you're telling me there was no player that you could have got that was going to help your defense that you could have traded for? I think that was a little bit of a giveaway. I mean, come on. You're giving up on your team. I don't want to hear about how the fans or the media or anybody else didn't believe in this 2025 Niner team. The Niners didn't believe in their 2025 Niner team, which is why they didn't do anything at the deadline. I don't like the way they went about building this team. They sat out free agency and then sat out undrafted free agency.
I'm sorry, I'm picking you up at the end of your sentence there, but I don't mind the way that they played the deadline because I don't think this was the year to reinvest when you're down 2 future Hall of Famers defensively. I don't think it's time. Like, I think what we're looking at or what we're seeing now is that the 12-5 record is more of an illusion than it is a fact. And, but
they needed help. They didn't get any help.
Well,
I don't think that, if they were a crappy team that had no talent, I would agree. But this might be Trent Williams last year. I know he says he wants to come back. But
I thought Farrell did a decent enough job. Keon White hasn't been bad. They did make a couple moves, not right at the deadline. I'm glad that they didn't give up many more draft picks because they're going to need them next year. They're going to need those draft picks. And if you'd like the only silver lining that I can find for you today, they're going to have a third place schedule next year. They will have a third place schedule next year. So in line for another good season before you even see what that looks like sounds.
We don't even know what that's going to mean though, because it's the way the teams jumping up and down in this league, the way teams go from the top to the bottom to the bottom to the top. The third place, nothing has ever been more overrated than what place your schedule is for the most part. You got to see it. You got to see it because you never know.
But we're saying that it contributed to them being successful at all this year. So it does matter.
Well,
it does matter.
Here's the thing. It does and it doesn't. It does and
professional football teams, no doubt about that. But
it does and it doesn't. It does from the standpoint of what they looked like at the beginning of the year compared to what these teams did last year. Yeah, their schedule was incredibly favorable. But if you looked at the schedule and the way it actually played out, they were like 4th in DVOA as far as the teams that they played.
Were like 4th
in the league. So
the scary thing too, though, is that I think this is. Look, I don't want to talk a bad thing into existence here, but Christian McCaffrey was used so much this season. Next year is going to be different. Next year will be different. All
of that you're contradicting yourself. You're talking about an all-time player who was having an all-time year who you don't think is going to be the same level next year. Then why wouldn't you go for it this year? So next year you're going to go for it when he's lesser? I don't know. I there's all kinds of ways to look at this for sure. My whole thing is just when you have a shot, you got to go for it because you just never know. Football is a funny thing. Next year, you could have 7 guys hurt in the 3rd preseason game and not even get to week 1 with a chance. You could be totally
very Niner-ish. That does sound Niner-ish.
It could happen. So it's like when in this scenario where you have, you had a shot in a down year for the NFC. There's none of these teams that are that great. And I personally disagree with your assessment that Seattle's going to win the Super Bowl. I don't think Sam Darnold's going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know who's going to beat them, but I think somebody will. I'd be shocked if he's standing at the end.
I think they right now, outside of I wouldn't be surprised to see the NFC West represent the conference in the Super Bowl. And I think that the 49ers have the least chance of any NFC West team doing that. I would say the Rams or the Seahawks right now have the best chance to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC. I don't like the Eagles to win it, to repeat. I don't think they've had a repeat season. And I think that's partially because Saquon Barkley was used so much last year. He's not quite who he was this year. And that's just the thing. They
lost a lot too. They lost Milton Williams.
McCaffrey. Yeah. One of the best things that happened to Christian McCaffrey coming into this season was the injury that kept him off the field so much last year. Let's see what the pounds of flesh that he's given into this season look like next year. Now, the guy's an absolute stud. You give him a better offensive line. He nearly went 1,000. He's incredible. He's the focal point of everything. What happens when that starts running out, though? And I think that the 49ers use Christian McCaffrey as if he is some sort of, a resource that will never be diminished. They had an awful lot of opportunity to get Brian Robinson carries this year, and they took none of them, which is odd because every time Brian Robinson Jr. touched the ball, looked pretty good to me. But that's the way they played it. And we'll see what the tax is on everyone's body going into next year. But it ain't even time to talk about next year. They're a playoff team. Like you said, weird things happen. So they're going to need a lot of weird.
Philadelphia is not the same team that they used to be. They lost Milton Williams. They lost Josh Sweat. Those guys left in free agency. Sweat went to Arizona. Williams went to New England. So they lost two key cogs up front. Lane Johnson's been hurt. Their offensive line has not been opening holes.
Mekhi Becton gone.
Mekhi Becton went to the Chargers. I mean, they lost some guys. They're just not quite the same team. And then but they're still talented. Niners have a shot in that game. I don't know if it's a great shot, but they got a shot. They got a shot because Purdy outside of yesterday is playing well. Now, how is Purdy going to emerge coming out of this game? Because he did take a big hit at the end of the game. They said he could have gone back in, so obviously he wasn't crushed, but that was a huge hit. That was a huge hit. So
it was up high. It was the down, up high in front, down low from behind. It looked like he got folded in half there. So it's lucky that he got up and just walked off the field. He looked hurt for a minute.
I just don't know if I trust the 49ers to be able to find the pieces that they need. It's like, I don't love the idea of trading a bunch of assets for one asset. Trade it all for Trey Hendrickson. Got a guy in here is like, go get Justin Jefferson. I mean, I get it. The trade a bunch of assets for one asset, but really that's just shortcutting the big issue, which is you gotta do better with the assets that you have. You can't always be trading for one guy. And that means you're going to have to handicap the draft. You're going to have to figure out who's going to help you, who's not.
They can't even handicap their own players' mentalities. And Brandon Ayuk is, first of all, fuck you, Brandon Ayuk. What the hell happened there? Like, what the hell happened? No one's going to talk about it. No one's going to come out and say but something ridiculous happened with Brandon Ayuk. He has you have enough money to be happy now, and he ain't happy now.
Well, okay, I have a theory. I'll give you my theory. My theory is that it's a dog-eat-dog world, okay? And there were some people that didn't internally that didn't love that contract. And then once he was broken and clearly going to be diminished, then they really didn't want him. And I think they let that be known. I think he sensed that they didn't want him anymore. And the combination of, you're making a lot of money and you got this big ego and your team that you didn't necessarily want to come back to, but it just happened to work out that way, now doesn't want you and is sending indications that they don't want you. That would be my guess. My guess is that the Niners didn't love the guy. Then when he got hurt, they're like, oh my God, I want him out of here as fast as possible. This contract's a disaster. He sensed that. He's sensitive. And then just basically was like, I'm not gonna rehab, where I'm supposed to rehab. And then they're like, oh, you're not gonna do what's in your contract. Now you've given us a right to get out of the contract. And I'm sure that he knows that they're on solid ground with their yanking of his contract. So there's no way he can fight it. So he's not fighting it. And so then they were like, well, but if you want to come back and play for us, and he's like, the fuck I am. I'm not coming back and playing for you guys. You guys hate me and you've treated me like shit and this and that. I'm not coming back. And then they just said, you know what? Oh, okay. We gave him this window. They were talking like, oh, maybe he'll be back. We really like him. We hope he's back. And then all of a sudden, there was this pivot. And George Kittle was like, yeah, I don't think he's coming back. And Lynch was like, no updates. And then all of a sudden there was the announcement they're parting way, they've eaten, it's like, he's unhappy. We're not going to see him anymore. The divorce is coming.
Here's the deal.
I think that's what's going on there.
It's time to stop signing physically and mentally fragile wide receivers. Okay. That's a problem for the 49ers. And the fact that this was their guy in-house and they didn't know enough about him to know that, hey, man, he's a ticking time bomb. And if we let this go, that we're not happy and we got buyer's remorse on the sticker price that we paid for the player. Like, don't let that shit out of the building if you think it could implode on you. And that's just it. It's another front office screwed it up. Front office screwed that up as much as the player might be fragile.
People are like, hey, people are in the chat. Listen, people in the chat.
They should have traded him. They should have traded him and Debo. They didn't have the nuts to do it, and they got stuck in a bad deal that they didn't want to sign. Again, the right time to get out of something you think is a bad investment is now.
We got this one from Woodpit. He said, we didn't treat him like shit, though. Woodpit, you don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not saying that they definitely traded him like shit. I'm saying that they didn't want him. They didn't want that contract. And when he got hurt, they really didn't want that contract. And he knows it. And he sensed it.
The weird change your shorts thing on the practice field.
Yeah. But I'm not saying they treat him like shit, like they, somehow TP'd his locker or, did something, aggressive to him. I'm just saying that they didn't want him. And then when he got hurt, they really didn't want him. And he knew it.
Did they duct tape him to a field goal? Seriously. Did they duct tape him to a blocking sled? And
the bottom line is, unless your receiver's Jerry Rice, don't re-up him. Nobody else does. Packers didn't with Devontae. The Bills didn't with Diggs. The Packers didn't. Everybody, Tyreek left. All these guys leave. You don't have to re-up your receivers. Everybody's running spread in college. There's a million receivers. Every draft.
The Niners can't draft one of them. Niners can't draft one of them. Everybody's got a million receivers except the Niners.
Yeah, you can't. But they're in the draft, so there's no reason to pay Jerry Rice receivers. If you got Jerry Rice, pay him. But if you don't have Jerry Rice, don't pay him like Jerry Rice.
Should have signed Devontae Adams, man. He had a big year.
No, what they should have done was they should have gotten some better receivers. The more explosive receivers and put them on the field. But they've got all this pecking order of stuff, and it's like Watkins can't even get out there. You're trading for receivers are different than the other positions on the field. What I mean by that is the receivers have to complement one another. You can't have 5 of the same receiver. You can't have 5 guys who all run 4-2 but can't catch the ball within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. You can't have 5 guys that are all 6'5" and 230 and they catch every ball within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, but nobody can run 15 yards down the field. You have to have complementary receivers. They have to complement one another. There's 3 levels. You need receivers that can operate on all 3 levels. So you got to have complementary pieces. So it's about the receiver that's good for you might not be good for them. The receiver that's good for them might not be good for you. You got to have guys that fit together. And the Niners they went for Kendrick Bourne when they needed to add speed. JJ's slow. They don't have a lot of speed. They needed to add that speed element.
Coach up Jordan Watkins.
And instead they didn't add the speed element. No young speed, no old speed, no speed. They added another 4'6", 4'7", bang around type receiver. And then JJ was like, hey man, he's taking my job. And then did you notice that he came in, Bourne had 2 great games. And then JJ was like, hey, fuck that. Get me the ball. And then JJ got the ball like all the time for the next month, and Bourne never touched it. And was it because Bourne couldn't play? No. It's because JJ was like, hey, he's here doing my role. If Bourne had been a 4-3 guy, he wouldn't have been like, oh, get rid of him. He would have been, I love him because he's creating more room for me to do my role. Instead, you have another guy you brought in who can do my role. And it's like they don't complement each other. They can't play together.
Here is a damning statistics. It's a compliment to Christian McCaffrey for sure, but it is a damning statistic to how little the franchise of Jerry Rice has done to address wide receiver issues. Christian McCaffrey became the first 49ers player at any position to have over 100 catches in a season in 23 years. 23 years in between 100 catch seasons between Terrell Owens and Christian McCaffrey last night. How's that even possible for the 49ers? I mean, 100 catches.
Here's the list. Here's the list of the receivers this regime has drafted: Watkins and Junior Bergen this year. Ricky Pearsall,
Junior Bergen. Let's go back to Junior
seventh round pick. Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing in 2024. Ronnie Bell in 2023. Danny Gray in 2022. Do you see what I'm saying? They can't pick a wide receiver. Brandon Ayuk in 2020 and Juwan Jennings. They took them both. Now that was good. That was a good draft. They got two receivers. Before that, they had Debo, Jalen Hurd. Okay, so there's three good ones there. Dante Pettis and Richie James. So I mean and then before that, Trent Taylor. So I mean they've invested about 10 picks and they have like 3 hits. So it's I mean, they say a good draft is 50%. They're not even hitting 30%. So I don't know. I mean, it's just very frustrating. They don't have speed at receiver. They don't have any pass rush. They have no speed at linebacker. They're very young in the secondary. They're
what is really, really odd, Larry, is Shanahan's obsession with the position of wide receiver, the position he played in college. He's blind to it. He's blind to it. For a guy whose offense is so detailed, and you would think that he knows what he needs out of a wide receiver more than any other position, he's blind to the position that is essential to his offense that he played, that he cares about. And that's really odd. It's really, really odd that something that is so significant to him and his coaching identity is, arguably the worst position he's drafted overall since becoming head coach.
They need a restructuring. They need a structure where you have a Howie Roseman architect who's drafting. You have Shanahan who's coaching. And you have Lynch who's the president of the organization overseeing. That's what John does best. Right. He brings people together. He's a great face of the franchise. Right. He's a very credible human being. He's a very credible, smart guy. He's a very positive thing. I mean, John Lynch has been a very positive addition for the 49ers, but he's not Howie Roseman. He's not Eric DeCosta. He's not Les Snead. He's not John Schneider. He's not he's not Brian Gutekunst. He's not one of these guys that's just absolutely, you know what? John's got a great eye for it. Boom. Just lean on John. It's like they need that guy. They need Shanahan just to coach. They need Lynch to just lead. And they need that, that borderline dysfunctional drafting monster who's like, you know what? We don't even let him out of his cave. He's just in there watching film, but he comes out with gems. And they need that. They need that person. And they need to simplify. They need to simplify their whole. No more, some nerd from analytics has some stat who tells you that you need to draft this guy. No. You want to listen to those guys. You want to hear what they have to say. Fine, but do not. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Too many. You're not going to get everybody to align correctly on every pick. And it's just, you got to have an instinct.
You would have had a general manager fired for this alone. Let me bring it up. Trey Lance. You want to talk about destroying your ability to add assets for a guy who was never an asset, but for one preseason game. Trey Lance throwing to Danny Gray in a preseason game.
Thought it was the future. Thought it was the future.
I've seen the future. I've seen it. I've seen the future.
It looked amazing, didn't it? Too. It looked amazing. Danny Gray got deep. Trey hit him in stride. You're like, we're going to be watching this for the next 15 years. Wow.
Brock Purdy has saved everybody's job. But for Brock Purdy, Shanahan's already gone. But for Brock Purdy, John Lynch is already gone. Right?
I mean, Shanahan is his own element. Shanahan is a really, really good NFL head coach who's got an offense that works. He's one of the deans of the offensive play calling community.
Yeah,
He if the Niners fired him, they'd be 10 times stupid.
of
All
course.
right.
But here's the thing:
his
is he the head
weakness
coach or
is
he's the perfect offensive coordinator.
but his weakness is that he is too nice of a guy. And Lynch is too nice of a guy. They're too nice. Okay? They're too nice. You have to be a prick. You have to be a bastard. You have to be an asshole. You have to be willing to say goodbye. The best personnel people were always cold. They're never warm. They're always cold. Jerry West, cold. You name it. Bill Walsh, cold. The coldest people, because you have to be able to say, I love you, bro, and you're gone. To the same guy. And Shanahan, the players love him. He's got a great relationship with them. They party together in Cabo. Lynch is out slapping skins. He's got great relationships in that room. They're both beloved, respected. There's a lot of good things going on there. But there has to be somebody that everybody hates who's drafting your replacement, who doesn't give a shit about you, your kid, your wife, your family, or any of that shit. He only cares about your production. They need some bottom line oriented, cold personnel people to say, this guy can't play, that guy can play, and let's go. And I don't care if we don't like the guy who can play, and I don't care that we love the guy who can't play. That's it. We have to make these decisions based on personnel evaluation, not hey man, I love this guy. I love these guys. This is my guys. Because I mean, it's just they're having a hard time. And also, no more of this, like, we have to have Boy Scouts. Drake Jackson's a hell of a guy, but he doesn't rush the passer. I need pass rushers. I don't need guys who I could have babysit my kids. I need pass rushers. I need defensive players who will take your head off and cut you for a nickel. I need those guys. I need those guys who are going to come out there and terrorize.
Charles Haley.
Yeah.
Charles Haley.
Where's your Charles Haley? Would this organization even draft Charles Haley? No, they would not.
I think that this team needs to reevaluate the way it goes about drafting, the way it goes about player evaluation. And I think that this team, whether this is fair or not, has to re-examine what they're doing with off-season programs and training camp workout programs. The amount of injuries this team gets undone by are even odd for a sport where you assume injuries are going to knock on your door. Injuries don't knock on the 49ers' door. They are the wolf that huffs and puffs and blows the whole goddamn thing down all the time. It might be the minute Nick Bosa, here's the thing. Nick Bosa is a phenomenal player. At this point, he's damaged goods. I'm trading him the minute I think I'm trading Nick Bosa.
Yeah, I mean, that probably would be a really smart thing to do.
If you can get something out of him, great. I don't know if you're going to be able to get, like, it feels like the best is in the rearview mirror, and keeping him around because, fans like him. I don't know what that does for them anymore. Nick Bosa is really likable as a football player, and maybe somebody wants to give you something for him. You got to test that water.
Well, I'd be really – see, here's the only thing about this. I'd be very hesitant to trade guys who are proven NFL players for draft picks when you're missing on so many picks.
That's also –
so I don't want to trade – I don't want to trade – if anything, they ought to maybe do the opposite. Trade some of their picks for guys who can play if they're going to stay with this regime that can't make picks. That's what Les Snead did. He was hitting, he was missing, he was hitting, he was missing. And he said, screw this. We're going to trade for Stafford. We're going to trade for Jalen Ramsey. We're going to get 5 or 6 of the best players in football on our team. We're going to fill in on the edges with other guys. And we're going to try to win the Super Bowl. And they did it. They won the Super Bowl. So it can be done. So they just got to be better, period. I mean, somebody's like, hey, man, Krug's talking about the defense and it's the O-line. You had Garrett Wallow and Eric Kendricks as your starting linebackers in the second half of a gotta-have-it game And you're going to tell me it's not the defense?
But that's due to injury. That wasn't the plan. I mean, I'll give them a little sliding scale right there. And guess what?
Linebackers get injured.
Job last night. The defense got gashed, but also did its job last night. The defense is not why they lost that game. They lost that game because of Seattle's defense and their inability to move the ball, to run the ball, to throw. Did Kyle?
I kind of disagree. I got to kind of disagree with you, Damon. They did whatever they wanted to do in the first half. They didn't get points for it because they missed 2 field goals and they went for it on 4th down.
What matters?
They pushed. But they pushed. But that's ignoring what we actually saw, which was that they were running for 6 yards a carry. I mean, I've got the game. I've got it right here.
But here's the thing.
I can tell you exactly what it was.
Scored the fewest points since becoming the 49ers head coach. So you can't say.
No, but their defense got pushed around. Okay, so that's what happened in this game. Here's how this game went. Okay. I'm looking at Seattle. 1st and 10. This is the first drive. 1st and 10. Okay. 1st and 10. Screen to Walker for 21 yards. Okay.
Oh, then
it's 1st and 10 on the 39. Charbonnet runs up the middle. He gets 6 yards on 1st down. 2nd and 4. Okay. Charbonnet got stuffed in the backfield. But then on 3rd and 4, Darnold finds Saubert for 9 yards. So then it's 1st and 10 again, right? They run Kenneth Walker for 8 yards.
Yeah.
They're setting up 2nd and 2. So they ran right through the 49ers. They didn't get points in that first drive, but they moved from their own 30 to the Niners 4-yard line. And they did it with relative ease.
Well,
and then
Tatum Bethune with that 1st down sack on Sam Darnold on 1st and goal was a big defensive play in a game that didn't have many of them.
Charbonnet, 3rd and 2 from the 27. He runs 27 yards around the end for a touchdown. Untouched. So, I mean, they were going through the Niners, and they were getting big yardage on the ground, in the air. So, yeah, I mean, I hear you that at the end of the day, I mean, I can make that same argument too. They gave up 13 points. But the reality was that the time of possession at halftime of this game was 19 minutes and 20 seconds for Seattle to 10:40 for the Niners. The total yards were 196 to 69.
It was a miracle. It was a miracle at halftime that they were in that game. It was a miracle.
The first downs were 12-3 at halftime. So I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I understand what you're saying, that the points at the end of the game were a low total, and I get it. But let's not pretend that the Niner defense played well in this game.
No, I was not pretending that they played well, Larry. I did not, under any illusion, say great game defense. But
it wasn't the O-line. The guy's like, hey, Krug's blaming the D. It's not, and it's the O-line. It was more. It was the defense too.
Defense didn't do great, but they held the team to 13 points. And if you told me that 13 points and Jackson Smith and Jigba's just a guy tonight, do you like the Niners' chances? I fucking would have loved their chances. Least amount of yards I think Kyle's dialed up all year. Least amount of points in Kyle's entire freaking career. They didn't run but 2 plays that went past the sticks. They were under the sticks all night. That's why I'm saying scared money don't make none. They did. If there was nowhere to go with the ball, that's another issue, I guess.
But you're ignoring the fact that there were 67 plays for Seattle, and the Niners had 42.
Yeah, but they usually see about 67 plays a game.
The total yards of the game was 361 to 173.
Right, and if the 49ers offense had stayed on the field for any degree that looked like anything was going to come together, that wouldn't have been as lopsided. The offense let that game down more than a defense who clearly did not hold that game up.
But look at what we're talking about. We're talking about the offense going up against a really great defense. But we're talking about the defense going up against a middling offense. I mean, they got pushed around by a middling offense.
They got their asses kicked on both sides.
Seattle almost ran for 200 yards in the game.
Yeah.
They outrushed them 180 to 53. My point is just that the Niners defense got pushed around, and that the real issue with the 49ers, and it's just beyond this game, It's that their defense, I mean, their offense got stymied yesterday, and there was hardly any possessions. But I mean, most of these games, the Bears game, I think the Niners had like 13 possessions. The Niners had 8 possessions. 8 possessions. And the first half, their possessions ended with a punt, a turnover on downs, and a field goal. That's all they had in the first half. So, yeah, the offense wasn't good, but the offense was going up against a great defense. It's the defense that should have been able to be like, I mean, 13 points is fine. That it wasn't.
Did
the
you
points.
think that the state of that defense,
the points was about the points being low was about the possessions being low. The possessions being low were about Seattle having long drives.
Right, I mean, but we knew that the 49ers defense was basically not going to set the tone in a single football game that they played all year long or going forward. The defense did overplay from what Seattle scored last night. They played better than I thought. And if
I'm just saying they had long drives. Seattle had long drives, the Niners had short drives, and that's why the Niners' time of possession was nothing. But the long drives were part of the reason that the Niners didn't score more points because they didn't have the ball very much. I'm just saying that the Niners defense, I mean, when you really look at it, the Niners' money is on offense. Purdy.
If you told me in any game going forward,
where the money is.
In any game going forward with Kyle Shanahan as this team's head coach, a 13-point defensive performance should be enough to win every game. Kyle has to be accountable for 2 touchdowns a game, period. End of story. I thought 3. I thought the 49ers had to score 3 touchdowns to beat Seattle last night, and they scored no touchdowns.
But they're the same Kyle that you're going to compliment for the play calling that he had in these other games. They were the same play calls. They're just not having success. Their offensive line got absolutely worked. I mean, Seattle brought 4 against 5 Niners offensive linemen all night and got home and got pressure and then they closed all that space. I mean, think about it this way: the Niners were completing passes to offensive players, and I'm watching this in the upper deck. The Seattle defenders were closing in on tackling the 49er players as the ball is still arriving in the air. So there was no room. They gave them their offensive line got whipped. Their lack of speed got snuffed out, and there you have it. But the real issue is that those are still the guys you want. I mean, you want CMC, you want Purdy, you want Kittle, you want Trent, these are the guys you want. So that's a problem, but those are the guys you want. On defense, those aren't the guys that you want. You are not going to be ever good with those guys.
Right. But
against anybody
that you had out there were there because of circumstances. This was the healthiest, minus Trent Williams. The 49ers offense
guys get hurt. Guys get hurt. Yeah, but I mean, guys get hurt. And they were, guys get hurt and your backups matter. And that's why if you're I mean,
these are the backups to the backups to the backups. I mean, at some point you're deep enough in your depth chart where any expectation of excellence is outlandish, that you're a fan with cheerleading pom-poms if you think that the guy picked up off the Denver practice squad is going to come in and solve the problem tonight. Right?
No, wrong. I mean, I would say that you have to always have quality depth, and guys get hurt all the time. I mean, look at the guy who made the game-saving interception. Who's that guy? Who's Drake Thomas? Drake Thomas wasn't anybody 5 weeks ago or 7
Earl
weeks
Thomas.
ago.
I thought it was Earl Thomas out there.
Yeah, so I'm just saying. I mean, and you just the issue is not that Kittle's not good enough. The issue is that Seattle's defense was really good. But the issue also was that the Niners defense wasn't nearly good enough. And it wasn't this score, this 13-point score, this game easily. If he makes the 2 field goals, now your 13's 19. If they score a touchdown, now that 19 is 26. This game easily could have been 30.
Could have gotten way looser. There's no doubt.
it wasn't it, the numbers were not reflective of this game. The Niners were never going to score. I mean, it just didn't feel like they were going to score against this defense. When they got some momentum one time, that's when the turnover came. They're not good enough on either side, but they have what they want on offense. I mean, these are the weapons that they have and want. Right. But they don't have what they want.
They scored 3 points. Okay? They got what they want on offense. They scored 3 points, but it's the defense fault who held an opponent to 13 points.
No, I'm not saying the defense fault. You're missing out. You're missing the point. The point is that the problem is on defense. They have what they have on offense. They need a better defense. Today it looked bad. They scored 3 points. But that was situational. There wasn't part of the reason they didn't get more chances is because they couldn't stop anybody. They constantly allowed Seattle to drive the ball 40 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards, 70 yards. And where they're going 3 and out.
I mean, another reason why they didn't get more opportunities is because they didn't move the chains, because they ran everything. If they needed 10 yards, they ran an 8-yard play.
Yeah. But I mean, where the hell's Ricky Pearsall? Where the hell are the Niners' explosive weapons? Their line's not good enough. I think it showed in this game. Their line got whipped. Brock Purdy was running for his life. It wasn't like there was tons of plays to be had there. It wasn't like, oh my God, guys were open all night. Brock didn't see him. No, that's not the case. Or, oh, you know what? Shanahan didn't have the right play calls. No, that's not the case. It's just that Seattle's defensive speed snuffed them out like a candle on all 3 levels. They're better. They're
35.
And they were better all night.
35 super chats. Let's hop in. Don't you think?
All right, let's do it. Which tell you that the Krug Show is brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Also, thanks to Sleeper. 49er football season is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chat, season-long leagues, and, of course, Sleeper Picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry, Larry, and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. The link's in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. And last but certainly not least, thanks to Habas Law, 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. Habas Law, HABBAS law.com on the web, 1-800-INJURED. It's really simple. If you've been injured in an accident and you want to win, there's only really one call to make. Habas Law. Omar Habas, Tarek Habas, the Habas Law team, they're fantastic. Their website is habaslaw.com. They will fight to make it right, 1-800-INJURED.
49ers defense is very injured. They should call Habas Law. They need an attorney.
Let's go to Jason Flores. He says, Jason Flores has become a YouTube member. Way to go, Jason. There you go. We got this one from the Cheat Ripers. Became a YouTube member. There we go. I'll clap there. James Foster in the house. 40 Weiner fans are upset because deep down they're all wussies and scared of the thought of having to win a playoff game on the road. Grow a pair. Oh,
yeah,
come on, James. Niners will probably fire a pretty good effort in Philly. John Kalua, that game felt like the 49ers version of postseason Oakland A's Moneyball. The trenches have to be the priority number one this offseason. Embarrassing O-line. Embarrassing D-line, too. I mean, come on. You're not getting anything done up front.
But you knew they weren't going to get anything done up front based on all visual evidence of the last month and a half of football. I've been saying since...
Which is all the more reason they should have traded for somebody.
Well, they added 2 defensive linemen.
They didn't. But who are they? Come on. One guy was a street free agent. The other guy was acquired for nothing. They didn't acquire anybody of significance. Old Dirty Hungus. So much talk about the Niners defense sucking, but it's been our offense versus top 5 defenses that's been attached to our most important losses. Attrition. Okay. The early Flav, even if healthy, I don't see how our O does anything versus that D. Trent helps, but our O-line clearly still sucks versus a legit D-line. We need to be able to run the football and give Purdy time.
Got manhandled last night.
Showtime says, Kyle called a horrible game. We moved the ball down the field with ease at the end. It took 4 quarters to find a rhythm. Where was that all game? There's a saying, those guys get paid too. Ryan says, surprised by all the surprise. Historic draft misses, plus injuries, plus old veterans finally caught up with us. Carr ran out of gas when faced with the best. Yeah, well said. Too much sauce. Love you, Larry, but Bruce is correct. Scared money don't make money. Niners didn't take enough shots. Garendo, Tonjes, Robinson involved.
It feels like all the speed that they had, they went out of their way to not use.
I don't think it was scared money, and you're advocating using Garendo. Harry Johnson, I thought Cowing was supposed to start practicing last week. Oh, God. I mean,
practice window's open.
Jesus. I mean, I don't know what to say about that. Fuji Simeon, how was the media food, Larry? What was the media food yesterday? They had, my God. No, they had amazing tacos. They had amazing chicken tacos, and they ran out of them. So I was going to double down for, they give you 3 at a time. So I had 3. I was like, oh, those are incredible. I went back for 3 more about a half hour later, and they're like, we're done with tacos. Like, yeah, you are.
Little street tacos, little.
Yeah, they were amazing. I mean, the tacos they were making yesterday were absolutely amazing. Kendall Wiggins says not using Moore or Watkins deep. No tight end, no 2 tight end sets. That's coaching, Krugs. 1 and 39 in comebacks. That's coaching. So now you're telling me that that Kyle Shanahan's not a good coach? I mean, is that what you're telling me? Come on, man.
I mean, Kyle's a good coach, but when this team gets behind, getting back into games with an awful lot of fast-tempoed offense isn't something they do well. I mean, that's pretty odd.
That has to do with the personnel. They don't have quick strike personnel. I mean, they don't have quick strike ability down the field. They don't have a line to protect. They don't have receivers that can get down the field. So I mean, it's to me, it's very much personnel. Fuji Simeon, what is your take on Pearsall and his availability? My take is that he's soft and that he probably should be traded. Hakeem the Dream. Kyle is Andy Reid in Philadelphia. He won't win a championship in San Francisco. Also, Saleh is the most overrated coordinator. Brock is mediocre quarterback in a great system. Also, Alex Smith was very good quarterback in a trash system under Nolan. Wow.
Going back to Alex Smith there for no reason at all.
Now this is Akeem. I mean, this is just venting. You're not going to, Kyle won't win a championship here. Saleh's overrated now. Saleh's immediately overrated.
Right.
Because he's cooking a shitty meal with terrible groceries.
He's the number one.
Brock, who's been fantastic, is now mediocre.
I think Saleh's going to be the number one coaching candidate around the NFL, and hopefully the 49ers can retain him. I think you give that guy the horses, he can run. By the way, you take Saleh away from a team, the New York Jets this year are about to finish a season without an interception. Look at what the New York Jets are post Robert Saleh, and what they were with him they determined wasn't good enough. Look what they are without him.
I love this one too. Brock's mediocre in a great system, but Alex Smith was very good, but just in a bad system.
Okay, so when Alex Smith was playing for Andy Reid, he didn't throw a single touchdown to a wide receiver.
I mean, you guys totally don't even remember the Alex Smith NFC title game against the New York Giants where the Niners went 1 for 13 on third downs, and Alex Smith threw like 12 out patterns, like 3 feet outside the receiver, and the Niners didn't convert on third down all day. And you're telling me that guy is better than Brock Purdy? No, I won't even entertain that. Alex Smith is not a zit on Brock Purdy's ass, and you can quote me on that. Joseph Ernberg, now this entire team up, Philly will put up 40. All right.
I don't think they're putting up 40 on anybody.
We'll see. We'll see about that. T-Guns, the 6-game winning streak, and they wear those BS jerseys. Lame, Larry. What's up with the $2 chats? I'm paying tariffs now. The $2. What's up with the $2 super chats? I don't get it.
I don't know. I'll look at it this way. I'd love some $2 super chats over here. Thank you very much, Damon Bruce Plus. We'll take it. I gotta buy beers at the Peach Bowl on Friday.
The Kevin Wood, member for 24 months. What should they do at defensive end next year? Seems like everything was built around Bosa the last few years, and he's going to be in year 7 or 8 with leg injuries. Draft defensive ends.
What's unfortunate is the defensive end that you did drafted, who was having a up and down, but that's what happens when you're a rookie defensive end in this league. Michael Williams set an edge, the one thing he was asked to do, and the 49ers run defense got worse without him. It sucks that Bosa is going to be hurt at the beginning of next year, and Michael Williams is going to be, he's already damaged goods before one season. That does suck.
Here are some good edge rushers in this upcoming draft. Tyreek Sapp. Remember that name. He's a hell of an edge rusher. Plays for Florida. He's a really solid edge rusher. Really like Tyreek Sapp. He's going to be in that 130 range, somewhere in there. He's Mikhail Kamara from Indiana. 6 feet, 260. I really like him a lot. He's a day 3 edge rusher, but he's a good one. He's a day 3 edge rusher. Gabe Jacques from Illinois, probably going to be a day 3 edge rusher. Danny Dennis Sutton from Penn State, going to be a really good edge rusher out of Penn State. So those are just a few that come to mind as far as edge rushers that I'll be looking at in this upcoming draft. And we may, there's some talk that one of our sponsors wants us to go to Mobile for the Senior Bowl. So we'll see. We'll see if we're going to wind up doing that. We will be going to Philly, courtesy of our sponsors. So we'll be in Philly next week with the Niners. But what they should do is go get more defensive ends. As far as Ernberg, he says they are still in the playoffs. Who cares? One and done. Okay.
It's pretty remarkable that they're a playoff team, all things considered. It really is.
The only flaves is the black unis are awful. They should go all white and gold numbers, all white and gold helmets, something similar to the all white Packer unis. They would be clean and make sense being the 49ers.
Yeah, they should go like their next rivalry uniform should be an ice out situation. This all black thing, it ain't working.
Yeah, their fans loved it, dude. I mean, they sold a shit ton of those jerseys. I mean, it's amazing. Greg Garjesi says, Larry, respect, but you talk out of both sides of your mouth. You compared this year's draft to possibly the 88 draft. Also, the D is not 74 Steelers D. I'm not talking out of both sides of my mouth. All I've said about this year's draft was that it is a volume-based draft. It's a volume-based draft. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 picks in this draft. 3 years from now, when they look back on this draft, you're going to have probably Mikal Williams, Alfred Collins, Nick Martin, Upton Stout, C.J. West, Marquis Siegel, all on defense. So you've added 6 defensive players. You've added Jordan Watkins, but you're not playing him yet. Connor Colby, who I think is going to eventually be pretty good. And you got Curtis Rourke, who's kind of the wild card. So, I mean, it's a volume draft. I compared it to the 86 draft because the 86 draft, the Niners got 5 starters and they drafted like 8 players that became key contributors. This could be their volume draft. That was my point. I'm not the one that didn't get Nick Martin out there. I'm not the one that didn't get Jordan Watkins out there. I'm not the one that didn't get Jordan James out there. They didn't get anything out of those guys this year. But it doesn't mean that the only really bad pick was the Junior Bergen pick, and that was a late 7th round pick. The rest of the picks are okay. It's just that there's you gotta look at this thing. I mean, it's an evolution. I mean, it's an evolution of players. Today the draft looks okay. We'll see what it looks like in a year. We'll see what it looks like in 2 years. We'll see what it looks like in 3 years. 5 years from now, we'll have the ultimate deal on whether or not it's a good draft. I'm not talking out of both sides of my mouth. I'm saying that they had a good volume draft, but it's not enough. They sat out the undrafted free agent period. That's where they've landed a lot of key guys in the past, and they sat it out for no reason at all to save a few bucks. So, yes, they had a deep draft class, but as far as star-driven, it hasn't happened. They haven't gotten all those guys on the field. I wasn't a big fan of the Mikal Williams pick. I said it at the time. I'm still not a fan of it. I mean, he's okay against the run, but what did he do against the pass? He doesn't look like a big sack guy. Defensive ends that don't sack the quarterback, I don't know. I can't really say that I'm all that excited.
I mean, look at Bryce Huff.
Don't tell me I talk out of both sides of my mouth. I do fucking content for you guys every single fucking day, 365 days a year. There's going to be times where you say something and there's an evolution once the games are played. You can't sit there and wait till one thing happens. Oh, you got this wrong. Oh, you got that wrong. I'm giving you my opinion every day, all year long, And there's going to be some evolution to that, period. All right. I'm not talking out of both sides of my mouth. I'm giving you good fucking content. And if you want it, hang around for it. If you don't, get out of here.
Hey, Kruger.
And maybe I should just get you out of here.
Kruger, get it right. Would you get it right? Hey, would you be perfect, please?
To the last guy, I hope that last one was worth it. Because you gone. Thomas Selman, shame on Ricky. Last two drafts were K clearly missed Mikkel, Fred, and Nick. Will we get comp picks? I'm trending towards trading Mac for picks.
I'm not trading Mac Jones. Mac Jones saved your goddamn year. You want to trade that guy? I'm not doing it. I'm not trading him.
It's all about. There's a price for everything. There's a price for everything.
Unless somebody has a "you got to be kidding me," drive him to the airport level compensation. I'm not trading Mac Jones. I'm not trading Mac Jones for a day 3 pick.
Greg Garjesi. I thought I just dumped Greg. Let me dump this again.
Oh, come on. He took one shot at you, Larry.
I don't care. I don't fucking care. This is my channel, and if you take shots, you're fucking gone. Also, how many fucking injuries did this team have this year? 12-5. How about firing the fucking strength loser coach and start blaming Lynch, the GM?
We did blame Lynch, the GM.
I just banned Greg Garjesi. Boy Tapagi. It's time to get Coach Kyle wide receiver 1. We got this one from JH. Philly is giving up 14 points a game since week 10, number 3 in points per game all year. I don't like the Niners' chances.
Hey, go Cardinals and head to Tampa Bay.
Thomas Selman. We can definitely beat Philly. Hurts has been awful. Keats, his schedule is ranked about 15th for the current season. Stop putting so much in preseason strength of schedule. Also, 160 million in players not contributing. The Niners have the 3rd most dead cap of any team in football. But that's their fault too.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it's like, yes, they're doing it with a hand tied behind their back, but they're the ones who tied their hand behind their back. The only Flav, you have to tire out a defense like that. Rams ran 88 plays against Seattle. We ran 42. If your D can't even get off the field and get you more plays so you can keep their D on the field, you're screwed. Well said. Well said. That's really it.
If you can't get an offense, though, to pick up first downs, you're not staying on the field either. And they had 9 first downs last night.
But you're never going to beat this defense if you can't drive the ball yourself. And if you can't stop them, I mean, they basically, what he said here is totally right. You have to be able to possess the football. They're too fresh. They're too talented. They're too fast. They're too athletic. You have to be able to wear them down. The Niners couldn't wear anybody down. Could not wear anybody down. We got this one from Greg Garjesi. Hey, Jerry Rice, 40-time 471. The O-line stunk last night.
Jerry would have been pretty darn good in any year, any era. Enough of that.
Yeah. And once again, Greg, goodbye. Lick Scorpion. How many missed tackles last night? Also, what's the date wildcard game start? I told Lynch to call Anquan Bolden. Kyle, 4th and 1. Go for it. Oh, my God. That's the other thing, too. It's like, Kyle Shanahan, you're not going for it on 4th and 3 from the 43-yard line.
Scared money don't make none.
I mean, he's too old school. He has to get with the analytics crowd. Go for it on anything that's 4th and 5 or less outside your 30-yard line. If you're inside your 30, don't go for it. If you're outside your 30, go for it. Modern NFL. This Jerry Falwell-like conservative approach to running the game does not work. Boxing fan.
Scared money, Larry.
Draft impact players that can play all 3 downs. Stop overreaching for scheme fits. There's certain traits you can only find in the first 3 rounds. Yeah, I mean, seriously. Enough of these guys. Oh, this guy's the perfect guy for us. Oh, my God. Guys can't pick your nose. It's embarrassing. We got this one, Stefan. Here's $5, Larry. 2 more than the Niners could score last night. Seattle proved our fantasy wrong. Seems like pass rush matters in this league. Oh, yeah. You got to have pass rush. Lyle Bolliard. Kyle and Brock can beat average defenses, but can't beat top-tier defenses. I don't see this changing. Okay.
Well, not with an offensive line that doesn't get the job done.
Bree Tucker says Bosa for Crosby.
Why would the Raiders ever do that?
Yeah.
I mean, they're the Raiders, so you never know, but no.
Niner forever. Offense lost us the game, Larry. Yeah, really? Because I watched the defense just get gashed all day. And they just because when the other team has the ball, you can't score. And they had the ball for a lot of the game. And the Niners couldn't stop them. And if the Niners had, I don't know, would the Niners have scored more points if they had, I don't know, 3 or 4 more possessions? Yeah, they probably would have. It all's tied together. That's the point. Greg is back for the moment. Larry, was the Niners D better than last week? What the fuck? Greg, you're pissing me off.
I mean, they got gashed a little bit last week, too.
User has been blocked. For fourth snowflakes, the Niners defense played good enough to deserve a better offense from Kyle and Brock, who held the ball too long. I think that's stupid. Too legit to quit. Lynch needs to be replaced. Marcus Mitchell, super sticker.
Happy stickers. Thank you.
Thank you for that super sticker. SF Indigo, go IU. I only care about college football for IU to win.
Indiana. Let's go.
They look pretty dominating. Brew Tucker. For a cold
Brett
one.
Brett, we used to think it was Bree Tucker. It's Brett Euchre. Thank you,
Brett Euchre. Bree Tucker, Brett Euchre.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Larry, one of the things I'm going to do when I get to the Mercedes-Benz Dome, whatever that thing is, not the Georgia Dome anymore, I'm going to look at those concession prices and then compare them to what they are at Levi's Stadium. Because I heard that Art Home Depot actually treats his fans like, he wants them to come back and buy things so he doesn't rape them with every single concession purchase like the Niners. The Niners' cost of a beer is embarrassing.
Well, you think that's embarrassing? Go to a Warrior game.
Oh, yeah. Home of the $42 double tall cocktail.
I mean, Jesus. Hey, Joe, if you're going to charge me $57 for a fucking 2 tall boys, how about have a basketball team that's not a fucking bore? Eat Calories says this game felt like the only way the 49ers could win was if the defense scored a touchdown, because whatever Kyle was cooking sure as hell wasn't going to work. Oh, McDonald in this defense thoroughly dominated. No doubt. Marcus Mitchell, I was pessimistic on this game. We are still in the dance. That's all that matters. Love Skittles post-game interview. I love Kittles post-game interview. I'm sure that's what he meant. The only Flav. I hear you. I hear you're saying Damon, but they finally got the D tired by the end and started moving it. When their D gets 10 minutes of rest the entire game because ours can't get off the field, they're always fresh. I mean, first of all, the term complementary football works always. It works good and it works bad, right? When you possess the ball, you're keeping your defense fresh. And when you have a really great defense and you keep them fresh, you've got an unstoppable defense. And that's what Seattle had. They kept the ball, and they weren't worried about the Niners. To me, the most ominous moment of the game was the first drive when Seattle went for it on 4th down, because that was their statement of, we own your shit. We're going to dominate you. We know it. And we're not worried about not getting this 4th down. We're not worried about giving you momentum. We're not scared of you at all. Right. We're going to work you.
We love our chances with you having to go 95 yards. You ain't going to go 95 yards against us. That I thought it was, their opening drive of the game. You probably should just take the points, but that was a little bit of a statement, and it dominated the game.
It was a huge statement. Michael says, retire the black jerseys. 49ers put them on and turned into the Raiders. Offense needs more dynamic speed at wide receiver, like playing in a 10-yard box. Yeah, I mean, it was weird watching it. It's like the Niners everything was about all this movement and then some really quick, short, nothing kind of a little run, a little pass, a little this, a little that. Nothing that was going to gain more than 5 or 6 yards. They just couldn't do anything for the most part. Where Seattle was, every run was like 8 yards. Everything. Every time they threw it to anybody, it was like they were just operating on a different level, totally different level. Brand new says, Greg, bye-bye, clown man. TFS says, right on, going forward on 4th down. The new kickoff rules, average starting field position is the 29-yard line. Yeah, I mean, gosh. You got to go for it more on 4th down. Possession means so much more.
Brian Robinson bumbling the second half kickoff is where hope really started going to die. Like, if the Niners were going to get back into the game, they were going to come out with a statement against this defense to open the third quarter, and it was dead on arrival.
Yeah, they started the drive at the 9 on that play. KC said, didn't 13-3 feel like 21-3 at half? Uphill climb. Oh, yeah, 13-3. I mean, 10-3 at half felt like no chance. Rory, what's Purdy's record when it's drizzling, raining, or snowing? I don't know. Go ask somebody who hates Purdy. I'm sure they have it. Vin Nguyen says, or Vin Wynn says, gave first, second, and Bosa for Max Crosby. Throw in Glassman Pearsall for free. Those two combined for 6 games. Bosa's good when he's healthy, but not. Yeah, once again, I think if the Raiders are going to move off of Max Crosby, it's going to be for some bevy of picks. And once again, the Niners are not in a position to trade a bevy of picks for one guy. Guys, we need to stop thinking like that. I get it. Max Crosby is a big name. Go find the next Max Crosby.
They're not one player away.
Go use 5 picks on defensive ends that you like and hope that one of them becomes Max Crosby. Don't trade 5 picks for Max Crosby.
Let me ask you this, Larry. So they're 12-5 without Warner or Bosa playing most of the year. Had Warner nor Bosa been hurt this year, is this a 14-2 team, or is 14-3? Are they 15-2?
No,
are they 15-2 in the 1 seed if Bosa and Warner had played all year? I would say yeah. They might have been.
I don't think so. I mean, was Bosa or Warner going to help them score last night?
You said the defense was the problem.
No, but I know. But did they? But is it going to help them score points? No. So you're saying it's going to?
Maybe they would have gotten
lost. Were they going to be better against Houston? Were they going to beat Houston with Bosa? I mean, and you're always better if you have better players. But I just kind of think that their record was going to be within a game. I don't think it was. I don't think they were going to be some undefeated team with those guys. I just think that they would have right now. They don't really have a chance. They would have a chance. They would have a chance to win the Super Bowl today if they had those guys, because you have to be able to move the quarterback off his spot, and they don't have the ability to move the quarterback off his spot. So they sit there and they just get roasted in the pass game, in the run game. There's just not a lot there. But I don't think their record would have been that dramatically different. I mean, maybe they win the Jacksonville game, maybe. I don't. They've been pretty good. They may have won these games more impressively. That's what it would have happened. They would have won these games by bigger margins.
Here's the thing: 12-5 is an objectively good year, no matter who you're playing. 12-5 is a good year. It's weird. Everyone feels terrible right now, and we were talking about how on Friday Kyle should be coach of the year. This Sunday he's a fucking bum, and I didn't say overreaction. That. No, I'm not saying you did, but that's a fan's feel, and that's the overreaction. They go to Philadelphia and somehow win that game, the praises will be back on. Look at what they've done.
They might win that game, but
they might win that game.
They're what they are, though, is they aren't good enough on defense or offense, and really it's more about the defense. I mean, the offense can cook potentially, but against the best defenses, you see what it looks like. I mean, they got dominated this year twice. They got dominated by Houston. They got dominated by Seattle. Both times, really good defenses. Both times, they just couldn't do anything.
Corey,
I just get the feeling that like if the Niners had played, if that game had gone on for 10 quarters, they probably would have wound up with 3 points. I mean, they weren't scoring. They weren't going to score. Corey says, Seahawk fan here. That felt like the Seahawks D from the Super Bowl 48 win, punched a finesse offense in the mouth. Yeah, I mean, their defense was really cooking. Their defense was really cooking. And I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl because of Sam Darnold. But if Sam Darnold can take care of the ball for 4 quarters, they got a shot because of that D. Marcus Mitchell, we have a chance to run the table. That's what matters. Faithful needs to calm down. We are not even supposed to be here. No, that is such bullshit. I can't even. There's so much bullshit in this comment. It's unbelievable. You have a chance to run the table. You have a very little chance to run the table.
They aren't supposed to be here is something I kind of would agree with. They've got
not supposed to be here. Your over-under in Vegas at the beginning of the year was like 11 wins.
Right, but that's healthy. That's a healthy team.
But, I mean, you had the easiest schedule in the last 15 years. Even people that didn't think you were good thought you'd win 11 games. So, I don't know. I mean, and where are you, by the way? You're saying we're not supposed to be here? This is exactly where you're supposed to be. In the playoff mix is where you were supposed to be. And that's where they are, in the playoff mix. So, they, and they have a chance to run the table. Okay, they got a chance. That's all that you care about.
It's not a great chance.
Yeah. Rodman Sanchez. Hey, Larry, could you ask Robert Saleh if he cares about the time of possession now? A few weeks ago, he said he only cared about points. He didn't say he didn't care about time of possession. He didn't care about yards.
Well, there were a lot of yards last night, not a lot of points.
Yeah. He so maybe he's happy with last night. He probably is happy with last night.
He should be.
Yeah.
That's why I think it was the offense that really let down that game. But I've been saying this for 2 months, and I'm going to say it again. Burn the tape.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you run the ball on first down and you go for 8 yards and your defense is sitting at 2nd and 2, is that on your offense? Because that happened all night. You sat there all night watching teams dominate you on first down and have and basically your young defense is out there with 2nd and short. And 2nd and short, you can do anything you want. Absolutely anything you want. So I can't blame if I saw the defense stop, have some stops would be one thing, but the defense didn't. The defense got pushed around all night. All right, that's the last one. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to the 51 people who did the super chats. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Habas Law. Thanks to Sleeper. Damon, I'll give you the final word.
Yeah, thanks so much to Ike's. Thanks to the Dubliner. If you ever needed a sandwich to eat your feelings away and a Guinness to drink those feelings away, 2 great places for you to do that. Thanks to Sleeper, which has been a sponsor on both of our channels. Last night, Larry, was my worst sleeper play of the year. I went 0 for 4. 0 for 4. My sleeper picks were a disaster last night. I had Sam Darnold over 20.5 completions. He finished with 20. McCaffrey, anytime touchdown, not even close. Kittle, 62.5 receiving yards. I took the over, under hit. Eddie Pinheiro, 2.5 extra points made. I took the over. I thought the Niners needed 21 to win. They had 3. So I had a rough sleeper play, but let me tell you, I enjoyed doing it on the all-new user interface, and it looks great. So thank you very much to Sleeper. Thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks to anyone who helped me get over 50,000 subs last night. I really appreciate that, Larry. I'm just trying to play catch up with you. And I thank everyone for doing that. I really do. It's going to be a little bit of an odd week. When are we rolling out our next wake up on Friday? I'm going to be in Atlanta. So you and
I'm going to be in Philadelphia. So
we'll have our production meeting.
We'll figure it out.
Yes. But thank you everyone for watching. Do appreciate it. Very frustrating day. And when we get to the end of this afternoon, we will know, is Larry going to Philadelphia or is Larry going to Tampa Bay? It'll take a miracle to send Larry to Tampa Bay because the Rams have to lose to Arizona for that to happen. So
Kevin and I are on our way to Philly, man. We're going to go to Philly, and who knows? Maybe the Niners can pull the upset. I view this season as, I don't think it was a huge accomplishment to go 12-5 because I thought they would go 11-6 with their easy schedule, and and it was an easy schedule. But to me, the success is predicated on this next game. If you win this game, if you win this next game, then I think it's a successful year. Why? Because you made the playoffs, you won a playoff game. And in this case, you won a playoff game against a good team, the defending Super Bowl champions on the road. So that to me is it. If they duck out like lambs and go down to Philly and get their doors blown off, disappointing. But if they go to Philly and beat them and upset them and whatever, it ends somewhere after that, I think overall good year. So
maybe I wasn't as bad as you thought I was. Bill Trent, he's got retirement here now, and maybe I wasn't.
I can't even pretend. He was awful.
Everybody talks about John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan. And those guys, they're not bad. But they drafted Solomon Thomas, and good old Trent Baalke drafted Defoe.